Timmy, do you want to go play out in the pool? Yes, Mommy. I'm sorry, Timmy. I'm sorry, but I have to listen. Where are my keys and my sunglasses? George, it's getting late. What am I gonna do? You are so clumsy and so forgetful. It's right here, sweetheart. Laura is from New York. She has grown up in the city. Went to college and even began her career as a social worker. Laura had the most busy life. She was either at work or out with her friends on Friday nights, partying, having fun, and enjoying herself. And it was in all this. One night, she met George, and they connected. George was visiting New York from back home in Kansas. And from one date to another, they got into a long-distance relationship and 2 years later, got married. After their marriage, Laura moved back with George to his beautiful suburban family home out on the countryside in Maryland. George was working a promising job as a head engineer at the local power plant. But all of a sudden, for Laura, life shifted 180 degrees, and she was living the life of a housewife. At first, Laura didn't like moving here at all. She wasn't used to the silence, the empty roads and fields for miles and miles. Here, even the neighbors lived 10 minutes away. And the nearest mall was a drive. There was nowhere to go, no place to socialize or make friends. And when George got occupied with work, Laura was completely alone at home with nothing to do. She tried all sorts of things: painting, decorating the house, gardening, but nothing seemed to fill the emptiness in her life. When some months went on like this, Laura thought she'd get to know the local community, and now and then went into town. It was one of these days she got a good idea. Why not get a job? George, guess what? What? I got a job at the bookstore. What? You got a job? Since when? You didn't even tell me about it. Well, it was a spontaneous decision. I've been feeling so alone and bored at home, so I thought, what's the harm? Well, good luck. You're already forgetful as is, and working at a bookstore, how are you going to find any book? I'll manage. So Laura started working at the bookstore. But even then, she still had lots of free time on her hand. So sometimes she would borrow books from the store and read it on her spare time. It's so quiet out here. Oh, George, you're home. What happened to you? You look startled. Oh, it's just, I don't know. Sometimes it feels like someone is trying to talk with me. I can feel a presence. But as I turn, no one is there. Really? I've been living here my whole life. No one has ever tried to talk with me. And you've been living here for the past 6 months. And nothing has happened. And now all of a sudden, this house is haunted? I'm serious, George. It gets so lonely sometimes. Exactly. Maybe it's just that. You're alone, your imagination is running wild. Life was getting by one way or the other. And in all this, Laura discovered she was expecting. The couple was more than happy. And from there, life became fulfilling for Laura. Nearing the end of her pregnancy, Laura left her job and focused on preparing for the child. And after Jeremy was born, she was always busy looking after him, caring for him and playing with him. At first, it was overwhelming. But Laura couldn't be happier. But along with that, a fear was born within her. Laura always felt anxious. She felt as if she would lose her child. She always felt afraid, as if something were to happen. Kill him. Laura was startled hearing something. She looked around. She looked out the window. Did someone say it from outside? What was that? There was no one around. What did I hear? Laura ignored the matter, thinking she must have mistaken something. But as the days went on, she began to experience something stranger. She began to have strange instincts and urges to listen. Mommy, can I go play in the snow? Jeremy, first wear your jacket. It's so cold. Freezing. Jeremy is out there. What if I lock him out all night? Mommy, it's freezing. I told you, wear your jacket. Come on, let's warm you up. Laura couldn't understand why she was developing these instincts, and she tried to ignore them, but they only grew stronger. Mommy, can we toast marshmallows by the fire? All right. He's going too close. What if he falls into the fire? He won't be able to get up. Ouch. Jeremy, why did you go so close? Do you know how dangerous the fire is? I'm sorry, Mommy. It hurts. Every time Laura felt the urge, She almost began to struggle to resist them. She knew it was wrong. She knew it was evil. But she wanted to do it. He's near the stairs, just a distance away. What if I push him? What if he falls? Mommy! Hearing Jeremy fall down the stairs, Laura ran after him, horrified to see him crying. Jeremy, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry I couldn't catch you. My arm. Don't worry, it's a minor fracture. We're getting the cast on. He should heal in 2 to 4 weeks. Thank you, doctor. As Laura watched the doctors put on Jeremy's cast, George arrived to the hospital. Laura, how did this happen? He was playing with the scooter and he accidentally fell down the stairs. What? And where were you? I told you not to let him play around the stairs. I know, it all just happened in the moment. I couldn't act quick enough and he fell. You have to be careful, Laura. It's a broken arm this time. It could have been worse. What happened to me today? He was right in front of me. I could have saved him, but it was as if I wanted him to fall. Did I subconsciously push him? Did I do it? Did I try to take his life? That night, the more Laura thought about what happened, about what had been happening, she realized she needed help. The next day, after she dropped Jeremy off to his preschool, she took a trip to the bookstore. Laura, coming here after a long time? What happened? Don't ask, Jeremy broke his arm. Oh dear, how did that happen? Laura told Anne what happened with Jeremy, but she didn't tell her about herself, that she could have saved him, but she didn't. But even then, Anne looked at her strange. Know something? Something like this happened before. There used to be a woman in this neighborhood. She and her husband and their son lived not too far away. They seemed like a normal family, but then one day, the child was found dead, and she was standing just by the pool. After investigation, the mother was arrested for negligence. Her husband testified to her support. He said she had always been the most caring and loving mother, the most amazing and faithful wife. They couldn't find any explanation or reasonable cause behind why she did it. None of it made any sense. Later on, the defense lawyers pleaded insane. She was sentenced to an asylum and her husband was living all alone in the house. Just a few months later, even he passed away in an accident. It was all so strange. When Laura heard the story from Anne, she was shocked, and she was afraid. She didn't know what happened to that woman, but she felt if she didn't do something, she would have the same fate. Sweetheart, can I tell you something? What is it? Please, just hear me out. I think there's a problem with this house. I think it's haunted. I don't want to live here anymore. Laura, are you serious? George, please. Let's sell this house and move to the city. Have you gone mad? If we sell this house, how much do you think we'll make? We won't even be able to afford a flat with this money in the city. The only reason we're living in this house is because my grandfather sacrificed everything to buy this house for his children's future. Today, in this day and age, I don't even have the option to afford something like this, even if I sacrifice everything. But George, I was talking with Anne today and she told me there was a woman in town. She lost her mind and she took her son's life. Then that doesn't make this house haunted. What's gotten into you? No matter how much Laura tried to explain to George, he wasn't prepared to listen to anything. Without much choice, that day, Laura did what she could. She tried to stay alert and look after Jeremy. Never allowed the slightest chance of an accident to occur. And a couple weeks went by, and things seemed to settle down. It was one of these nights, George returned home to a silent house. Stepping inside, he peered into the kitchen to find Laura cooking. But Jeremy was nowhere to be seen. Laura, where's Jeremy? What? What do you mean, where's Jeremy? You were supposed to pick him up from practice. I was? Did you inform me? I think I did. Yes, I remember telling you. No, you didn't. You imagined you told me. George was furious as he quickly grabbed the keys and stormed out. Hurry, we have to go. I can't believe you, Laura. How can you be so irresponsible? First the accident, and now this? Things can't go on like this. As George sped down the road, Laura simply sat there without a word. Laura, I'm talking with you. Why aren't you answering me? As George went to shake Laura, she turned to look at him. Laura? George woke up in the hospital. As he opened his eyes, he heard Jeremy's voice. Mom, Dad is up. Laura sat beside him. Are you all right? What happened? Last night I was getting my bag and Anne had called me. Hello, Anne. Laura, I went to pick up my son from practice today and I found Jeremy waiting there for an hour. I thought he must have gotten caught up in something, so I brought the kids back to my place. Thank you so much, Anne. George and I will be right there to pick him up. Anne told me she saw Jeremy waiting and she brought him back to her place. I was about to come tell you, but when I came out, you drove off by yourself. And then you had the accident. Someone reported the police and thank goodness they got you here. Looking at his wife, George was shocked. Then who was with me in the car last night? Who was she? Laura, I think you were right. There's something about that house. Let's move to the city. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.